Imagine if your homeland were protected by a concrete barrier stretching almost 400 kilometers. A wall so tall, so massive, that it reshapes how you see the sea. Japan has been doing just that in response to its worst natural disasters. Today we are exploring why Japan built its massive tsunami walls, what it took in materials, labour, money and engineering. Oh, and how it stacks up against fiction's greatest wall, the wall in Game of Thrones. On March 11, 2011, the Tōhoku earthquake triggered a massive tsunami that devastated the northeast coast of Japan, covering Fukushima, Miyagi and Iwate. Nearly 20,000 people died. Entire towns were flattened. Existing seawalls, often lower and less reinforced, were overtopped or destroyed. After 2011, Japan decided to rebuild and extend seawalls along its storm and tsunami-prone northeast coastline. 395 kilometres of seawalls were constructed, although some reports say 430 kilometres had been planned. As for height, some sections measure up to 14.7 metres, and in places foundations are deep, very deep, up to around 25 metres underground. As for cost, approximately 1.35 trillion yen was spent in the construction of the walls, which equates to around 12.7 billion US dollars. Massive quantities of reinforced concrete. The walls must withstand enormous hydraulic forces, wave impact, overtopping and scour, effectively erosion at the base. Wider bases reinforced inner walls to absorb energy, better foundations, improved designs versus older sea walls. While we could not find exact numbers for total man-hours or total tons of concrete in every segment, the project involved thousands of workers over years. For example, in the worst hit areas, the wall work is part of a massive reconstruction effort. Some coastal towns also had to raise their local ground levels, like Rikonsata, raising theirs by approximately 10 metres. And projects are non-continuous, and in many places the wall is still interrupted, and there are local ports and rivers or local opposition measures. Also, completing all planned walls will take years, some sections still being under construction. These walls are not a guarantee. If a tsunami exceeds the design height, it still overtops the walls, but even delayed flooding gives precious time to evacuate. They reshape views, coastal life of course, and some communities feel cut off from the sea, or that their scenery, livelihoods such as fishing and tourism are altered or damaged. 1.35 trillion yen is a huge investment. Some say that money spent on walls might detract from other needed rebuilding, housing, infrastructure, relocating communities and so forth. Psychological effects have to be taken into account too. If people believe that the wall makes them safe, they might slack on evacuation readiness. And now it's time to weigh up the difference between Japan's tsunami wall and their all-important famous wall in the Game of Thrones. Japan's tsunami wall first, a length of 395 kilometers, up to 14.7 meters in height in some places, and the purpose is to hold back or reduce tsunami wave impact, give evacuation time, and protect infrastructure and lives. As for the wall in the Game of Thrones, where they're looking at a length of 480 kilometres, stretching coast to coast across Westeros. As for height, we're looking at 213 metres on height in average. And the purpose, as we know, of that wall was to defend the northern border from the wildlings and magical threats, largely symbolic and military defensive structure. When it comes to the parameters of material and engineering, Japan's tsunami walls, as we've mentioned, are made from reinforced concrete with deeply rooted foundations. The design is there to resist overtopping and wave overture and erosion, whereas the fictional wall in the Game of Thrones is made of ice and magic. It's mythologically ancient, structurally implausible under real-world physics without magic. So Japan's walls are orders of magnitude lower in height and more fragmented in length relative to the Game of Thrones wall. But they are real, engineered to real threats and built under economic, environmental, social constraints and so forth. The Game of Thrones wall is larger, more dramatic, but also fictional and magical. The Great Wall in Japan is an attempt to learn from tragedy, to accept that nature is unpredictable and sometimes overwhelming, but that human engineering, planning and resilience can make a difference. It shows the cost of safety in money, in concrete, in changing how people live, and the trade-offs between being protected and living freely. Like the wall in the Game of Thrones, Japan's seawalls are statements that some threats we refuse to ignore. But unlike fantasy, nature doesn't wait for magic, and walls alone can't solve everything. Evacuation, planning, respect for risks, those matter just as much. Because while we can build walls, we must also build readiness.